Hope. Doomsday narratives are powerful plot devices. So too are promises of a paradise. Both sides in the bifurcated Psywar agree that if only the other guys were defeated, we'd have hope. If the other guys are not defeated, we'll face certain doom. Their scenarios are mutually exclusive. Both sides cannot be happy at the same time. This is a feature, not a bug. Hope. On the right, hope often centers on a return to traditional values, cultural revival, and a sense of moral or spiritual rectitude. This was packaged as the Great Awakening for the MAGA movement. Economic promises, like Gesara-style debt forgiveness, symbolize a utopian restoration where systems finally serve the people. There is a longing for a world reordered according to familiar hierarchies, where stability and sovereignty are reclaimed. On the left, hope is framed through the Great Reset and progressive economic experiments, such as universal basic income. It envisions a future where society is reorganized around equity, sustainability, and collective welfare. Here, technological innovation, systemic reform, and social safety nets promise liberation from poverty, inequality, and environmental collapse. Doom. The right is haunted by visions of depopulation, advanced weather weapons, and extraterrestrial threats, both alien and clandestine human agents. Red pill right wing tends to fear AI the way they fear aliens, viewing both as demons. These fears tap into a narrative of existential siege, where outside forces conspire to strip away freedom, life, or cultural continuity. The sense of looming invasion, whether cosmic or engineered on Earth, fuels urgency and defensive cohesion. The left, in contrast, is gripped by climate catastrophe, systemic chaos, and the consequences of unmitigated capitalist greed. Environmental collapse, extreme weather, and ecological strain become metaphors for humanity's collective mismanagement. Here, doom is not imposed by hidden enemies, but emerges from interconnected human activity, warning of societal fragility and the urgent need for cooperative stewardship. The success of one side represents the failure of the other. Each side frames their struggle as utopia versus dystopia, with the other side being representing the worst-case scenario. There is no middle ground and no compromise between the two. The irreconcilable differences are scripted into the theater of Psywar, the purpose of which is to maintain the dialectic, the never-ending tug-of-war struggle for power. Meanwhile, neither side is in control. The pro and the anti-positions are both part of a rigged system. The fear of impending doom and the promises of hope are to provide motivation for the participants in the world stage's dramas. The framing of doom versus hope is intrinsic to the bifurcated Psywar within which all the psyops take place, all of which reinforce this basic schism. False flags are false leads. Psychological operations are used to insert simulated events into the MSM as real events. The very existence of psyops is understood today by most so-called truthers. Truthers who don't trust the official mainstream accounts of terrorist attacks or school shootings will gravitate toward every popular conspiracy theorist traffic in these false flag stories as their stock in trade. I contend that these are there to conceal psychological operations. Here are a few things to take note of. False flag theories are based on Operation Northwood, a proposed false flag operation against the Cuban government that originated within the U.S. Department of Defense, DoD. This false explanation has been pushed by suspected controlled opposition and many others serving as media guardrails unintentionally. Even though false flags have never been proven, this conspiracy theory never ceases to be used as an explanation for psychological operations. Psychological operations, or psyops, make more sense for several reasons. There is no reason to kill people during the production of perfectly legal propaganda for the nightly news. Death at a psyop would be as problematic as a death on a Hollywood movie set. The special effects handle all the carnage you need. Real death would be undesirable and unnecessary. It would turn a legal film production event into a war crime. The false flaggers insist these Sweden News events are real. As long as the events are assumed to be real, then the logical question is to ask, who done it? Every scapegoat story is another diversion away from the truth. Sweden News events are superimposed over reality, Much like indoctrination into false doctrines, the deceptions are reinforced by the ensuing misguided hunt for a villain. Meanwhile, the propaganda has done its work. 9/11 truthers, who are still trying to blame someone other than Islam, are caught in this trap. They believe the scapegoat story about Osama bin Laden is the wrong scapegoat. In the fight over scapegoats, an entire generation of truthers has chased the CIA's white rabbits, meanwhile wandering ever deeper into hyper-mediation. False flag explanations put one into a deeper state of mediation because these explanations proceed with an assumed reality of the events. Time-wasting rabbit trails follow the white rabbit. Trinity to Neo, the Matrix. Conspiracy theories generally refer to the alternative explanations for the alleged facts in the reported news. These are meant to entertain and tie up those minds who might otherwise see through the mediation itself. Nearly every conspiracy theory exaggerates the power of the suspected conspirators to the point where they are now an elite, all-powerful cabal. They deepen the existing mediation. Instead of calling out the big lies, people are dragged into little clues of hidden truths deeper within. Notice how conspiracy theorists never meet Q's army of white hats, nor are the blood-drinking bad guys ever exposed to the light. They never solve the mysteries behind their conspiracies because they aren't meant to be resolved. They are narrative guardrails to keep conspiracy theorists on the world stage. Conspiracy dogma. The conspiracy research community conceals the deep-faked reality and deepens MSM illusions. Notice how the false flag-pushing, non-auto-hoaxing conspiracy channels will point at the predictive programming, but fail to mention the events are hoaxes. This means they see the event as both real and worse than reported. Worse than the MSM believers think it is because now it has the element of a sinister conspiracy. They add a level of horror to the story and don't subtract anything. By adding to the narrative, they go deeper into the world stage illusion. Wittingly or not, most popular conspiracy researchers, I contend, are part of the MSM ecosystem. They exist for this purpose. This is what we call MSM plus. It means MSM plus some unverified information that suggests things are way worse and there is a cover-up. MSM plus types will say, "You're being distracted from blank," like a mantra. This explains why conspiracy theorists are agitated when they see sleeping MSM believers. They haven't awakened to the plus part of the narrative. You hear them say, "Nobody is talking about blank." This position assumes the MSM believers simply aren't up to speed or are too distracted. The MSM plus conspiracy theorist doesn't auto-hoax the situation. They run with false flag explanations that assume the story is rooted in reality. This is a big assumption with big media. The auto-hoaxer perspective, in stark contrast, subtracts unverifiable information and uses reality as a starting point. The auto-hoaxer looks at the MSM as fake until proven real. Importantly, instances of predictive programming cannot logically be explained away as revelation of the method, which is patent nonsense. Predictive and concurrent programming is meant to make you think the fake news is real. It's not the result of some cosmic contract with the universe. The common explanation that dark occultist baddies are gloating at their control over the MSM true believers is misinformation. These explanations are meant to prevent you from peeking behind the curtain and seeing perception management psychological operations are the norm and not the exception. The truth lies in what facts and reality-tested claims reveal. The MSM believers and the MSM plus both fall for the same error of treating the news as real, until proven fake. Notable MSM plus types are Stu Peters, Alex Jones, and current thingers chasing the next fear-based twist to put on mainstream events. The conspiracy research communities take the "what is it" question and turn it into "who done it?" And from there, the truth seekers will line up to focus on the latest scapegoat. Why do people trust the lying media? Because most don't have time to vet all the news they are expected to believe. This is by design. The non-stop 48 hours of news per 24-hour news cycle keeps media consumers from verifying anything. Radical skepticism reduces the amount of time needed to be in the know about what is knowable. If you find this subject interesting, Please hit the like button and subscribe to hear the rest of the series, the IPS Deprogam, a skeptic's guide to the theatre of Psywar and IPS production.